So, one thing I currently feel like I might regret, because I don't really believe in regrets, but one thing I'm close to regretting about this this journey of healing and release and exposure is the loss of something, yet another loss of something very, very sacred to me. And that's the loss of my, not even just the loss of a community, but the loss of a instrumental community, an identity creating community. Losing that connection to it, losing that reality. If you've been keeping up, or even if you haven't been keeping up, I recently, if you've been keeping up, you know, but as a reminder, and if you haven't been keeping up, to catch you up, I recently learned that more people knew about what was going on between me and the First Lady than just the lady that said something to me. In my original post, I talked about a trip to New York where somebody said something to me, but that was the only person I ever knew to know. And I just presumed they had kept it to themselves because nobody ever said anything. But I recently learned that there were more people who knew, and some of them with the power to have changed things on my behalf. People that the community trusted, that would know that it wouldn't be something that would have been made up. Like, if this person said it, then it's like, okay, no, this has some merit to it. And finding out that more people knew, which means more people could have said something, and just knowing that they didn't. That's been a revelation, the revelation of learning, because when I've learned that her family knew, or let's put it like this, I have figured out that her family knew. I didn't think the daughter knew. She does. And she's an adult now with her own kids. She knew that. And what I do remember about my interactions when I would be over their house, like I was over their house a lot. And sometimes Bishop would look at me kind of funny, but he never said or did anything out of the way. But of course he knew. Of course he had to have known. Of course he had to have known. My 18-year-old brain didn't know that. My 40-year-old brain knows that. And it's not just a brain thing. It truly is an experience thing, because when you're young, you don't have the life experience of people fucking you over. You don't have the life experience of being manipulated by people in power. Like, there's so many things you have yet to learn through just living life. You don't know enough about people. I think that's what I'm trying to say. You don't know enough about people to be able to see if you're being used by somebody who you trust and who has power. You don't see all of that. So, and I think maybe that's why it's so hard. Hold on a minute, where my bottle is? Oh, I gotta get my water bottle. Hold on. Okay. My mouth is getting way dry. And no, I'm not going to edit that out either because that takes too much work. Plus, it's a raw and open video journal, so that includes getting water. Anyway. So yeah, those are the things I've learned. The daughter knew. This is something I found out, and what I figured out was that Bishop knew, because ain't no way I was at their house all the time, spending that much time with her and whatnot. Oh, but you know what? I'm wondering, because this is still a theory on my part. I don't have any way to prove who knew at all. So, but this is all stuff yeah. But I don't have anything to prove none of this about who knew outside of the one person that said something to me, just to be clear. So, take it for what it's worth. I was wondering if she kind of planted in my head that he didn't know. And I could, like, I never would have thought of something so duplicitous. I never, ever would have considered that possibility until now. Like, the more I look at things, the more I see how obviously I was being played. And I feel like a fucking idiot. I'm not even feeling like an idiot because I didn't know when I was 18. And I keep saying 18 because that's when it started. Well into my early 20s. So this wasn't just like we was together a few times and then, you know, then it stopped. No, this was a multi-year relationship. What's his name? Lost my train of thought. Oh, I was saying that I never would have thought of something this duplicitous. Like, did she make me think that it was a secret from him as an excuse to, like, not really spend as much time with me? So I wouldn't have, so I wouldn't ask any questions about her not spending time with me. And like the way she spent time with me, I wouldn't really question. Because you got to keep it a secret. So that limits your options. And the reason I can think like this now is because of my lived experiences with people. I never would have thought anyone would do that. Like the mind games of it, the mental aspect of this has gotten so much deeper since I started this process. Like, I'm unearthing a lot of things, and that's what the vlogging is for. That's what the talking it out in video is for, because I have to keep talking about it, to keep unearthing stuff until I finally get to, well, I mean, do I get to rock bottom? Maybe digging isn't a good metaphor. Well, no, it's a good metaphor because I really am unearthing things. I don't know what it is at the end of this, but it's a lot. Every time I think it's a lot, every time I think I've gotten to the point where it's like, all right, this got to be it, it's like, nope, here's another layer for you to peel back. You've been watching this video for 10 minutes. You should drink some water too. Yeah. And I think it's, I guess it's good I'm having these little revelations, one step at a time, one piece at a time, so that I can sit with myself in yet another new reality. Because my reality, the way I perceive life and relationships, has been monumentally shifted. Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about originally, was the loss of the community, and how I'm trying to remember, and how I'm trying to find the words. I know what I'm trying to say, I just can't get the words together. Well, I think what I was trying to say, the loss of my community is something I lost. Oh yeah, there we go. That was a loss I did not anticipate. I never would have thought that someone or something could just destroy my childhood like that. And I think I found it. Like, I think I found a thing that has really broken my childhood, because, like I've said before, school and church. And you change schools as you get older. But for my family, no, we did not. We did not change churches. I'm sorry, so you change schools as you get older, but and some people do change churches. We weren't that family that changed churches, and we weren't that kind of church where a lot of people like would come and go. It really was like, grew up with these families. I think I've said that before too. Like, grew up with these people. But I didn't think I would ever lose that. I was even able to forgive the anti-gayness, because it wasn't something that was harped on day in, day out. They didn't like build their theology on gay bashing. It's just kind of when the subject came up, it was nah. So I could at least forgive that, because I also understand why people are taught that. From doing my own research about what scripture says about homosexuality, and I know they're not the kind of people that would actually research, and it's the kind of church where, you know, this is what your mama told you, and that's what her grandma told her, and that's what so and so. Like, it's not a theological education-based church. It's just a theological spirit-based church. So I could forgive that. I could forgive that. Like, you know, yeah, that made me kind of hate myself for a while, but it's also, it wasn't just church that had that message. Like, that message was everywhere in the world. I think that's what it is. Like, being gay was not good anywhere. It wasn't like that's the only, I only heard it at church. So I think that's why I could forgive that and still look back at my time with the church fondly. But I can't do that anymore, because anytime I envision a memory and I see like that point in time, and I imagine like what I might have looked like as a, let's say, 10-year-old, what immediately pops up is, when you're being used, nobody will come to your aid. It's like, man, like I see young me and I just fear for her, because I'm like, nobody's gonna save you from this. Which means the people that you think love you and would protect you, they don't, and you won't have any idea. If I could warn my younger self, that's what it would be. Don't trust these people. Any of them. Not one person. Play along and then leave. And your life will be so much better. Yeah, it's kind of fucked up. Like, even now, like, when me and my sisters get together, honestly, anytime my family get together, black Christians though, anytime you get together with your saved family, you just be bust out in hymns and just having a good churchy time. You might be having a space light, but somebody gonna start doing a gospel song at some point. If everybody in there is churchy. There is a black churchy culture. And I love black churchy culture, because I loved my black churchy culture. But I've learned that culture was not at all what it seemed. It wasn't safe. It wasn't safe in any way. It wasn't safe spiritually for anybody, honestly. Not just me for being gay, but just anybody trying to be free. It was not a liberation-based church, let me tell you that. But anyway, I think I was trying to say something, but I kind of drifted off. Probably this video won't get very many views because it's long. It's long and is probably not very coherent. So I hope it makes it past the published preview. If it does, but you think it shouldn't have, please say so in the comments. Yeah. Alright, so in summation, I've lost not just my first love experience, my first sexual experience, my first kiss, like those things that you're supposed to treasure. And yeah, I know that's cultural programming, but at that age, that is something I still treasured. That's why I still hadn't had any firsts with anyone, because I hadn't met. Well, number one, I didn't have the freedom to seek somebody I could have those firsts with. I've seen a few quote memes that or topical memes. I don't know what you call them when they're first person. I guess essay memes. I don't know, whatever. Where folks talk about, being queer growing up. You didn't have the same opportunities for first dates in high school, or sometimes certain school dances and things like that. Like the time that everyone else got to explore their hormones and relationships and sexuality. Like if you were growing up queer in an anti-queer community, you didn't have those. You didn't have that freedom anyway. If you had those, they did not come by as easily or as naturally as it does for straight, cisgender, heteronormative folks. Which is basically just saying straight cis people. So I think that's even more, that's why it's even more of a loss for me, because I already was limited in my possibilities. And she knew that, and she took that. And I'm not saying she took it by force. Of course I gave it, but she took it. Knowingly. And I will say something new that has also occurred to me is what happened to her. Who did that to her that she did that to me? But honestly, that's still no fucking excuse, because I'm not going to do that to somebody just because it was done to me. So I guess that's me talking. This is me in this moment breaking generational curses, because I'm not fucking doing that to anybody, taking advantage of them like that. And I've never done that. And anybody who has receipts that I have, show them to me so I can make amends. Because, like, to knowingly position yourself in, like, and this could be me making stuff up in my head, but I'm going to say no on that, because one thing one big lesson that's coming from this is I need to trust myself more. I need to trust myself more and not worry about how it looks to anybody else. I just need to trust myself more. But anyway, my whole view has changed from she loved me but felt convicted, and that's why she left me, she used me until I became inconvenient, and then she tossed me. Like, it's going from a Jekyll to a Hyde in the most monstrous way. I'm so easily manipulated.